New Thought Media Network proudly presents Having Courageous Conversations, where real talk dives deep. Each week we go beyond surface talk. We open our hearts, speak our truths, and dive into the stories that shape us. No scripts, no filters, just powerful, unforgettable conversations about life, purpose, healing, and truth. Join the conversation, because your voice belongs here. Please like, share, and subscribe. Check out our YouTube channel at Having Courageous Conversations or email us at yourshowyourvoice@gmail.com. Now, let's have a courageous conversation.
The views and opinions of our guest and hosts do not necessarily reflect those of New Thought Media Network, or any organization we may be affiliated with. Here at New Thought Media Network, we welcome freedom of speech and courageous conversations. There are many topics that can be difficult to navigate. Challenging the status quo and engaging in lively debate is important to expanding our understanding of one another, and life in general. Creating a peaceful world doesn't happen because no one disagrees, it happens from a willingness to understanding one another. In our programming, we strive to expand consciousness and assist people in creating remarkable lives. Your comments are welcome at info@ntmedia.org.
Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you're joining us from. Welcome to today's episode of Courageous Conversations, which is a heartfelt, spirit-led online series where we explore the transformative power of honest dialogue. My name is Cheryl Rogers, and I'm delighted to be here with you with my wonderful co-host, Mark Dupuis, and together we'll be guiding this conversation with our special guest today. And Mark, I'm going to invite you to introduce her.
Thanks, Cheryl. My pleasure. I'm going to first start by saying something Neil talked about. Intuition is the ability to access your accumulated knowledge and experiences, including those stored in your subconscious and your unconscious, and to generate new ideas or answers to your questions. Neil will talk about how we can all have intuition and can combine it with logic for more informed decisions and deeper understanding of ourselves and others. Nil Demircubuk, I'm not going to try, Neil, you can correct me later, is an intuition facilitator, certified professional coach, and the author of Down to Earth, Demystify Intuition to Upgrade Your Life. She helps people tap into their intuition and use it alongside of logic to make better decisions, improve relationships, and embrace self-care. She studied engineering, earned a PhD in economics, taught at the college level, led data operations at a financial technology firm, and directed nonprofit programs before focusing on intuition and coaching. I'm always intrigued when a person comes with knowledge and they're coming to us to talk about, for instance, intuition from an engineering background. Putting A and B together, what would you like us to know, Neil? Thank you for coming today.
Thank you for having me, Mark. Cheryl, thank you so much. I would like, first of all, everyone to notice that we all have intuition already. And that's one of the reasons I hesitate to call myself, I'm teaching intuition. It's more facilitating intuition because it's already there. And I'm basically, I work with people either in groups or one-on-one. I'm showing people ways that they can tap into that ability that we're all born with. We all have it. Mm-hmm. And just last week, I was doing a book talk at a one of my favorite bookshops here locally in Silicon Valley, Palo Alto. And I asked the group, I said, is there anyone here who thinks they have no intuition, zero intuition, none whatsoever? And one person raised their hand. And I said, would you be willing to allow me to do a little experiment, fun experiment with you? And he said, okay. I said, okay, could you please just close your eyes if it's comfortable? And he closed his eyes. And I said, could you take whichever hand you would like and put it exactly where your hair starts at your neck? And he put it there, just one finger, one or two fingers. And he did that. And I said, could you turn for everyone to check? And everyone said, yeah, where is it exactly that? I said, how did you do that? And he said, I don't know, I just did it. That's intuition. Did you think about it? Did you say, no, I should go half an inch lower or a little bit higher? Just went there. It's your intuition, because it's one of the things how many times you combed your hair or washed your hair, you know your body, life, so many things in life that you do on autopilot mode that relies on intuition all the time. So for people who say their intuition is weak or is not there, first, let's just see where it's actually there and thriving, and it's really helping you every moment of your life.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So was there a moment when you realized that intuition was more than instinct or coincidence?
Yes. There were many such moments, because instinct is more survival based, and it's almost our very base. It's people would talk about amygdala and fight and flight and all of those things, or even drinking water when you're thirsty can be called an instinct. But intuition taps into knowledge. It really goes into that. Today's world, I can make these analogies about, it's like storing data. So being able to go into part of your mind, part of your neurological system, your whole body, where you store data that you consciously are not aware of or consciously not capable of accessing directly by using logical chain of thought. If this, then that, or, because I did this, because I did that. It's our way of, it's our cognitive way of tapping into all that stored information. Mm-hmm. So, because of that, it goes beyond instinct. It also includes our life experiences. Mm-hmm. It goes to everything. So you cannot, for example, take a firefighter and have them make a decision on an airplane flying situation, whereas you cannot, and you cannot take an airline pilot and put them into a firefighting situation. But each of them in their specific area could make split-second decisions and save people's lives.
Mm-hmm. So what comes up for me then is, you're saying that intuition comes from within, not from something outside of ourselves, and that it comes from basically what we've learned and experienced over our lifetime.
Yes. And I know some people would say, well, what about psychic phenomena? In my way of teaching, in my world, I don't go into premonitions or psychic phenomena. But for people who want to explore that, there are ways, and there are teachers who explore that. And maybe one way of bringing that together is then you're going into like the whole connectivity part of everything. And but yeah, in the way I do intuition, especially also because of my background, then people here in the technology world, I live in Silicon Valley, can also relate to being able to use all their knowledge and experiences that maybe their conscious mind forgot about, but they want to be able to tap into it for their creativity, for their work, for coming up with solutions to the problems then we keep it more, okay, your accumulated knowledge and experiences based on your life coming from within you. But I am not going to say everything else doesn't mean anything. They also mean a lot, but they could be explored in different ways. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So even though we don't remember our experiences and our learned behaviors, we have what in intuition is called a gut feeling, which comes from that experience or knowledge within ourselves.
Yes, within ourselves, within ourselves. And a spiritual way of looking at that would be, this is how we're created. We are given that connection to ourselves, and that connection to ourselves is part of the connection to each other.
Okay.
And it begins. Yeah.
No. Sorry, I thought you were done.
Oh yeah, it's all.
Okay. Do you have a personal experience that stood out for you, that you had an aha moment, and that's maybe what inspired you to grow your intuition or acknowledge it even more than you previously had, maybe?
Yes. Again, many times in my life, many of the big life decisions, I really felt a very strong sense in my whole body. For example, when I was choosing where I went to college, when I first visited that college, it felt, this is my place. It really was beyond, oh yeah, it's a good university, I can study what I want, and checklist. It was not a checklist. There was the checklist, because I also always say in my book as well, take your intuition and take your logic, put them together, and if necessary, look into research, because maybe it's not even in your area of expertise. Bring everything together before you make a decision. So I had my checklist, but I also went there and felt how it felt to be there. Do I feel like I can be here? Do I feel like I can be happy here? I can learn here. And it was that click. Yes, this is my place. And I was fortunate enough to be able to be accepted later. So that's another part of it. But yeah, it felt like that.
Awesome. And is there an example or a time that you didn't follow your intuition and went, if I had only listened to myself?
Oh, yes. There's kind of like the opposite of it. When we were looking at houses to purchase, and we saw this house that we're living in, everything about my logic was saying, go for it, otherwise it would be too late. This was several years ago, and competitive housing market. But my intuition felt really heavy, and I couldn't really decide or figure out what it was saying.
Yeah.
And I decided to go with logic, and it also overlapped with my husband's decision. But later on, time showed me that my intuition was saying, it's an old house, it's going to require a lot of work. I was walking around sensing all those things. Oh my God, this is going to be hard. This is going to be hard. Yeah.
Those are great questions, Mark.
Yeah.
And great examples. Like, it's hard. It's hard. Okay, you've got the intuition, and you've got, like, I'm a logical person. Cheryl will tell you that, because I deliberate. And so, yeah. So what do you feed? The which wolf do you feed, right?
Yeah.
That's why we work so well together, because I'm not logical. I go with my gut.
Yeah, I love to work with people who are on either side of that scale, or in the middle, or anywhere, because we get to explore. It's life is about that. Life is about exploring our different abilities, learning new things, and see how this feels and how that feels, and all of it. Yeah.
And I won't say I'm like that all the time, because I can be logical, of course.
Yeah.
But what certainly makes Mark and my working relationship so strong is the fact that we balance each other out somehow.
That's beautiful. I can see that. I can see that, and I can feel that. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's interesting because I'm hearing you talk about using intuition and logic together, whereas some people might consider logic as opposite to intuition. What would you say to them?
That makes me even kind of chuckle inside and smile outside, because intuition in so many ways, not in every way, but in so many ways, intuition is accumulated logic.
Mm-hmm.
It's your learning. It's what you figured out before.
Mm-hmm.
It's all of it coming together. So it's a very, very cognitive process. So in my mind, in my opinion, it's not the opposite of logic, but it is sometimes tricky to be able to tell what is intuition when you really are tapping into intuition, because we're very emotional beings, right? So emotions can get in the way. Sometimes we could be really excited about something and take that as intuition. Sometimes we could be very anxious of something or afraid of something and think that is intuition. So the main way I guide people to tap into their intuition is through a method I call priming. And that word came from actually a scientific study where they gave the participants word puzzles, and the scientists could show, Annette Bolt, Thomas Goschke, and Julius Kuhl in 2003, they could show that when they primed people to be happy beforehand, they did better. And when they primed people to be in a negative mood before the experiment, they did worse. So that was one of the inspiring studies for me. So I work with people to find different ways to get into that happy, good, calm emotions state. And also, it's about calming the conscious thinking, because you can even think of this as another things that we hear a lot about today. It's kind of like an AI computing thing. If you have some computing you want to do, you want to turn off other things in the background if you want it to do really well, right? If it's going to require a lot of data search, for example. So you want to quiet your conscious thinking as much as possible to be able to tap into your intuition. So calming this, calming that. So calming the emotions, calming the mind, then asking in that stillness, when you feel that stillness, dropping your question into that stillness and see what comes up. And intuition speaks first in these situations, then capturing the first thing that comes. Because if we don't do that, then the conscious thinking mind is very quick at going in there, our inner critic and many other parts of us, start writing stories, scenarios. So, yeah, priming yourself to be in a calm state of mind and emotions, then asking your question, or then checking in, how do I feel in this new place? Is this my place? These kinds of questions you can easily ask. Yeah.
So what you're saying is you center yourself. In my interpretation, you're centering yourself, and for me, I might call that meditation or something like that. But what's interesting is what comes up for me, and this is just my perspective, is that when I do that, and I'm sort of emptying my mind and just asking a question and waiting for an answer, my interpretation is that it's coming from the universe, from the energy in the field, right? And so this is very interesting, because it's the first time that I've had a conversation with somebody who talks about intuition coming from within and from and logically from our experience and our knowledge.
Yeah, and that's why I'm also opening up the caveat that I'm not excluding other people who study beyond this level of intuition. This is down to earth intuition, like down to earth intuition.
Okay, that's why that's the title of it.
And accessible for everyone, because the kind of state you describe, Cheryl, is beautiful, and it's accessible, but for some people, maybe kind of more beginning level of intuition is more accessible. So, but it's not about closing doors to what could come beyond that. But again, I stay in the pretty logical, bring it together with logic, bringing together with all your learnings realm. So some people, like you said, really respond to that meditative state. What I really want to emphasize is there's so much value in intuition, in your whole body and your mind, unconscious, subconscious, and how you can access it, even without going into that kind of meditative state. And the way I have people really see that, practice that, is play with little decisions, small things that are fun, that wouldn't hurt you or anyone. Like going into a restaurant, making sure that you're not allergic to any of the ingredients, then just letting your intuition decide, just going into that calmness. And how can you go into that calmness without meditating or in the moment? Let's say you're in a meeting. You can just do something mindful, such as you can put your hands here and just breathe and feel your hands move, or you can put them on your belly and breathe and feel your hands move, or you can feel your feet on the floor and just press them, move them around, and feel the floor. You're just basically distracting your mind from the usual chatter, and at the same time, as you're breathing, you're calming your emotions. So that could be a way. I seriously, honestly, had clients who didn't respond to any of these things, and we explored, okay, what calms your mind and emotions? Maybe not together, but what calms your mind, what calms your emotions? And for some of them, it would be closing their eyes and imagining that they're in their happy place. Really going through all their senses in that imagination, so that this really quiets and they really relax. So, okay, go imagine your feet on the ground there. Let's say they're on the beach. Imagine the warm sand. Imagine the sounds, the smells, everything. Then when they really feel like, they're melting, then we drop their question in and see what comes up. Yeah. And for some other people, interestingly, I had people who even, nothing else relaxes them but their favorite computer game that empties their mind relaxes them. They play it on autopilot. I even have them, okay, play it for a few minutes, or imagine you're playing it for a few minutes, and let's ask the question and see what comes up. And then ask your logic as well and put them together. Yeah.
Why is this important for you to get it out there, to share this information that you have? I can see why you would do it for yourself, but where is your heart? Where does your heart speak to spread this knowledge that you have?
Checking and see, as you ask me, I'm putting my hands here and checking in, not with my mind, logical mind, but also with my intuition. Where is this coming from? Not that I don't know where it is coming from, but just checking in, the best way to answer that. Because based on not only my own experiences, but as I discussed and kind of explored this with my teachers, being in groups of people learning this from different teachers, and then after starting to teach, I got more and more convinced that we can really enrich our lives and we can expand our hearts and our awareness when we bring all our abilities in, including intuition. So let's say I'm stuck in a situation. It could even be I'm in a traffic jam. I'm in a traffic jam literally on the road. I'm in a traffic jam of life. To be able to see an alternative, to be able to see a different perspective, even in the 2 coaching schools I've been to get my certifications, we use these, what's another perspective? When the client feels stuck, what's another way to look at it? Intuition brings that. what's another way to look at this?
Mm-hmm.
It opens you up. It makes you be aware of other possibilities, and also it softens the heart. As our awareness grows, our compassion grows. Especially when you invite intuition into personal connections and communications with each other, people listen differently. People listen at a deeper level, and as we listen at a deeper level, then we communicate more openly, more honestly at a deeper level. Therefore, I hope we understand each other better, and as we do, we have more tolerance, we have more compassion, we have more accepting of everything, everyone as they are. So,
Excellent.
long answer, but yeah.
Yeah, that's lovely. That is beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah. When well, as we're talking, I'm thinking about, we a lot of us think about religion and spirituality, and or at least I do. I'll speak for myself. Religion, spirituality, all these other things. And what I'm hearing from you is down to earth intuition doesn't separate anything from anyone. It's available to everyone. It doesn't matter what religion, it doesn't matter what spiritual sect you're from. This is a down to earth, logical, I'm going to use the word, form of intuition that anybody, whether they're an atheist or whatever they are, can learn to do.
Yeah. Can learn and can experiment with, again, making sure there's no harm to themselves or anyone, experimenting with small decisions, going to the grocery store. Okay, what do I cook today? Big question. Narrow it down, go to the produce section and just ask your intuition, which color, which area of this beautiful display is appealing to me right now. And go there and see, pick up an ingredient. Okay, what would you like to combine yourself with? Who would you like to play with, so that we create a beautiful dish here that's healthy and good for us? So just play with these things. And also, I'm also trying to bring more playfulness into everyone's life, to bring more joy. And again, it's a gateway to compassion. It's a gateway for unity, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I'll be an Oprah. Hashtag gateway to.
Yeah. It's very hard to be mad at people when you're playful, when you're having fun.
Brilliant.
And what have you noticed about intuition in group dynamics or leadership roles?
Yeah, in terms of, I also, in my background, as Mark very kindly shared, I have a period when I worked in corporate world, finance, technology, data. I've seen, myself included, I've seen so many different leaders in different management roles, and I have seen leaders, and also through coaching, I had been coaching some managers or leaders as well. And I have seen leaders who totally follow their intuition very comfortably, and I have seen just the opposite as well. And but I've also seen sometimes, through one of my clients especially, she would come and give me examples of this one person she worked with who would follow their intuition so tightly and so closely at the expense of others. So this is why I also kind of really bring in, ask your logic, make sure, bring in research, talk to experts, not just say, because until we really know our intuition very well, sometimes, like I said before, to me, what she described sounded like that person was very excited about a new area they could start marketing or start their brand in, and made that decision, and it cost them a lot, and people lost jobs and livelihoods and things like that. So yes, bring intuition in, but really practice your intuition to make sure what intuition is, and make sure you're not being just emotional. And even if it is your intuition, make sure you're not being the airline pilot making a decision in a firefighting situation. Make sure your intuition is relevant to that area.
Yeah, great answer. It's halfway through the show already. So we're just going to take a minute or two for a break. Okay. So, whoever's here, if you're listening, if you're watching, feel free to go and make a cup of tea, get a glass of water, go to the washroom, and then we will be back to continue this wonderful, interesting conversation, because I want to go with what you were saying about emotions and fear and all those things. How do we differ between them when we come back? Thank you.
Thank you.
Please help us say thank you to all of our organizational sponsors, including the Hepperlin Foundation, Affiliated New Thought Network, International New Thought Alliance, Science of Mind Archives and Library Foundation, Center for Spiritual Living Denver, Center for Spiritual Living Midtown, New Thought Philadelphia, Center for Spiritual Living United Life, Sunshine Cathedral, Planned Happiness Institute, Summit Center for Spiritual Living, One Heart Retreats, Universal Joy Center, Unity Kitchener, Unity Spiritual Center, Ottawa, Home Center for Spiritual Living, Satya Center, Begin Within Ministries, Center for Spiritual Living, North Jersey, Unity of Savannah, and the Center for Spiritual Living, Seattle, as well as all of our individual donors. On behalf of New Thought Media Network, thank you, and please like, share, and subscribe. New Thought Media Network, come be you.
Wow, thank you for staying with us. This is a really fascinating conversation, and listening to Nil, it's really looking at intuition in a new way for me. And you spoke about maybe different levels of intuition, and so this is a very grounded one, which you refer to. This is very down to earth,
Yes.
and so anybody can do this. So my question, just before we left, my thoughts were, how do we distinguish intuition from fear, conditioning, negative conditioning, negative experiences and learning, or emotional reaction?
Yeah, I teach various tools, and I share them in my book as well. So one of the ways, especially when it comes to emotions, is first of all, if you're in the, let's say sometimes people say they get an intuition without asking for intuition, it just shows up, right? Let's say some idea or some thought or some feeling just showed up and you want to know if that's intuition or not. Let's say you're choosing a path between right or left or middle or 90 degrees, and something is saying, just go this way, go this way. And you want to make sure that this is intuition. I would say do a quick priming exercise. And like we talked about, for some people, it could be meditation. Priming is anything that calms your conscious thinking, quiets down your conscious thinking and your emotions. Or it could be just breathing, following your breath for a few minutes or even moments, depending on how much time you have in the situation. Or it could be just taking yourself to your happy place in your mind. Then ask yourself again, just ask your intuition. Is this the way I should go? What did you just say? Could you please repeat it for me? And you can do it more than once. You can check in a few times.
Mm-hmm.
If it is intuition, if it's not just some passing in emotion, it really anchors itself.
Mm-hmm.
So that's I call that anchoring test. I also call it sometimes shake the answer. Some of us remember when we used to have these, I can still see it in some funky stores, but those little balls that had pool balls, you would shake it and it would show an answer, yes, no, maybe.
Yes.
So I just say, take the answer or take your hunch, shake it and look at it again. Prime yourself, prepare yourself with that calmness, shake it and see what comes up.
Mm-hmm.
That's a very good test.
Mm-hmm.
And still, even if now you're sure that is intuition, still ask your logic. What do you think? What do you think? Does this make sense? Does everything add up? And if necessary, talk to experts in that area as well. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds like you have a lot of conversations with yourself.
I do. I do, yeah.
Tell us about your book.
Oh, okay. My book is born out of all my experience in teaching, doing this facilitation. The teaching part, or like I said, it's facilitation more than teaching. I'm just basically helping people bring out what they already have. And it came out of, for many years, I was doing, when I was in the corporate world, on the side, I was doing intuitive guidance sessions with people. And at some point, eventually, one of my clients said, show me, because I was even in those sessions, I was actually doing the facilitation already. They would bring a question to me and I'd say, okay, let's just do a little exercise and calm them, mind and emotions. And I'd say, what do you feel? Mm-hmm. Rather than me answering you, your answer is more important. What you feel about it is more important. And over time, it led to people getting intrigued and asking, can you help me more, show me more? And then I started unofficially first, then it became officially, okay, you can tell people I'm doing this, more people coming to me. And then I had accumulated enough session notes and curriculum and everything to, I basically ended up with this huge file, 350 pages. I was putting everything in there. And in July 2024, very clear date on that, I looked at it and I thought, this has got to be a book now. Mm-hmm. And I took from July 1st, 2024 to the exactly a year point late in 2025 to turn it into a book, a manuscript, and the rest. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
And it's basically, I wrote it to be able to all the things I said earlier, to be able to say this, use all your abilities, open your heart, open your awareness. I wanted to be able to say that to everyone by, here, now it's available to everyone as much as, they're interested. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
So it's a fairly new book.
It's a fairly new book. It came out September 15th, 2025.
Wow, congratulations. That's
Thank
great.
you so much. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. So for people who are, well, I find like, I'm going to ask you a question now and I know the answer. Just sort of calm yourself, still yourself, still your mind, and go in and ask.
There you go.
I like that.
Because I was going to say, what about people who are skeptical? And you would probably say the same thing.
Actually, no. That's a very, very good question. People who are skeptical. There are many people in my life now, my friends, close circle, people in the family who were skeptical, and for a while they just observed me. And then they started talking to people who were working with me, and then they started kind of opening up. And I also wrote the book in a way, in a language and in kind of an approach that could also help skeptics explore this. I'm not trying to say I'm convincing people, but just something to explore. Why not? Something to explore and play with. So yeah, I kind of wrote it for people who have that questioning, analytical, reasoning type of mind. So yeah, I'm hoping some people who are on the fence feel, after seeing it or reading it a little bit, at least feel like, oh, there's something here. Let me really get into it a little, at least. Yeah, I'm just hoping to open up little cracks here and there, and just then open a door or a window, or like
have fun and experiment.
Yes.
Yeah. I see you were talking about playful
experiment, making sure no harm to anyone or themselves, and experiment with small decisions, see where it takes you. Yeah. And also one of the things I also early exercises I give in the book is journaling your intuition. So one of the ways we can get to know our intuition and see how it speaks to us and all of that is to keep track of it. So it could also be a playful thing to start an intuition journal. When did I get a hunch? What kind of hunch was it? Who was around me? What kind of environment? Then you can look at these things and see, oh, that hunch really turned out to be valid, and oh, this one too, and oh, look at that. Oh, look at that. When I'm at when I'm in the forest, I'm more intuitive. I don't know, whatever comes out of it. It gives you information about what primes you, what opens up your intuition. Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm witnessing a lot of playfulness in you, and you spoke about that earlier, in that it's part of what you inspire to do for yourself, and
I hope
invite other people into humor and playfulness. And I see that as you're talking, it doesn't seem like it's. I know there's a serious component to it, and I see a lot of the playfulness that you spoke about, and we all could use more of that in the world. Yes. I think, yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, there's the serious part of it too, like you said. There's a whole chapter on the science of intuition, because sometimes that surprises people too. Science, intuition, of course. I mean, how could someone be studying psychology or cognitive science or neuroscience and not be curious about this ability, right? So there's tons of science of intuition, and I give a kind of like a summary of that in the book as well.
Interesting.
In your bio, it says that you were an engineer by.
Yes.
Yeah, so what type of engineer? I know there is many different avenues in the engineering profession. So what type, and does any of your engineering background come into your intuition?
Yes, I studied industrial engineering, so it's very much about finding optimal use of resources in various environments, whether it's production environment or a company. So basically, best use of resources in a given context. It comes in a lot. I mean, and in industrial engineering, we get trained in many different. We take classes from many different engineering degrees, such as, we take classes from civil, electrical, computer, and all of that. So it's a very diverse way of studying, and it so many components in. And as one person who came to give a talk at my university said, I love what he said there. He said, what you're getting here is formation more than information, because the information you may forget, but the formation stays with you. I think the engineering formation stays with me. Then when I did my grad school in economics, got my PhD, and I really had that formation on top of it. So it's all these formations all together. They form how I relate to the world. They form how I look at things. So I may be more structured compared to maybe some other people who explore intuition. I may be questioning it more. I may be looking at different angles more, or the opposite. I don't know, but that's sometimes how I feel. Yeah.
Practical intuition. So what are the common myths about intuition that people share with you that you'd like to dispel?
Number one that really is one that even when I see some of my previous teachers say it or put it out in a book, I'm like, oh, please, I hear this. Trust your intuition. This, just like how I was saying, intuition is not the opposite of logic. They can go together, they can work together, and it can even be seen in some ways as accumulated logic. Trust your intuition is a very general blanket statement. What I say is know your intuition. Listen to your intuition, know your intuition. It doesn't mean do everything it says. Take your intuition's input and take input from everything else that is relevant and important. So yeah, that's number one. I'm not going to say it's really a myth, because not everybody may be believing in it so much, but myths, I guess some people believe, some people don't. Yeah, your intuition is one. Know your intuition is what I say is important, because it's good information. It gives you perspective. It gives you maybe a safety check. Then you can decide if you should trust it or not when you bring everything together. Another one, let's see. Okay, there are so many of them. We already went through intuition being opposite of logic. Yeah, intuition being totally separate from yourself is a myth, according to what I've seen, what I've observed and explored, and what I can also help people get to. Intuition can come from within you. What else? Is there any that's coming to you right now? I have a long list of them, but right now, what else is coming?
Yeah, I think the main one for me is that intuition comes from elsewhere.
Yeah.
For me.
Yeah.
And maybe,
and if I'm
so maybe it's about the words we use as well, right? Maybe something does come from elsewhere, but maybe the words we use could be different, and even the practical intuition. I think, like you said, you used something about shifting or shift perspectives, look at it differently. And I think that's, for me, something to do with everything
Yeah.
that we can do.
Yeah. 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 Well, exactly. You can take that statement and you can ask, what if we are part of that elsewhere?
Yeah. And does it have to be either or? Can it be both?
Yeah.
Sorry, Mark. Go ahead.
Yeah, I forget now.
Oh.
I was going on my intuition and it's gone.
Just
I'm totally
center yourself.
It is gone. Yeah.
It's grown.
Yeah. I actually don't know what it was in this moment, but when you were talking about your engineering, you had a degree in engineering, right?
Yeah.
Yes. And all the different factors that made engineering came together. I was thinking of what you were saying about intuition too. It's like, it's not just one thing, it's an accumulation of. Yes. And that stood out to me while you were talking about engineering. And what I was going to say is totally gone, but it'll come back.
And Mark, as you're saying that, to go back to Cheryl's question, a general myth, not just only about intuition, a general myth is trust means no questioning. That drives me crazy, because for me, trust comes after questioning. Trust comes with questioning. Trust comes with exploring.
So you have to build trust, basically.
Yes. You don't just unconditionally trust.
Yeah. That's a very good point to make, for sure.
So I can believe that. The skeptic me, I can believe those statements because it's all, again, it's all of it. It's not, oh yeah, this is simple and you just do this and Bob's your uncle, yeah. Very practical.
Thank you.
So I'm wondering, we're almost coming to an end. You spoke about, I don't know what you called it, but you called when you calm your mind and you what I call center yourself.
Yes.
Perhaps you can tell our listeners and our viewers, just give them an example of a process that goes beyond that. Like, that's what you do, and then how do you bring it all together?
Yes. A step by step. So step by step, tapping into your intuition. Let's say you have a decision to make. It could be as simple as, what should I have for dinner? What should I cook for dinner? Or it could be something more complicated, such as one of my clients yesterday was asking me, she just received a job offer, what to do about it. So and again, you're going to ask your intuition, then you're going to ask your logic, and you'll do your research. Given that, so how do you ask your intuition? Number one, making the question clear. So asking our question, a broad question such as, what do I do now? It's just like treating your intuition the way you would treat a wise friend. You don't just go to a wise friend and say, what do I do now? You just, okay, what do you mean? About what? It's just you narrow down, you hone your question, you make it a bit more, okay, what's my first step in this job situation? Or you can narrow it down to a yes or no question. So do I say yes or no to this? Or you just simplify your question for your intuition. Once you have that question, I would always say, especially if you're doing this as a practice, it's not like you're in a room full of people, and if you don't have time pressure. So prepare your question, really narrow it down, and either write it down in your intuition journal or on your phone or on a piece of paper, or imagine writing it down somewhere. The act of doing that is setting the question aside. Okay, it's not here constantly going around now. I set it aside. I wrote it down, or imagined writing it down on a piece of imaginary paper and put it in my imaginary pocket.
Mhm.
Then go into this centering, as you, Cheryl, you call it centering, I call it priming. Go into a priming exercise.
Mhm.
And choose your priming based on what works for you, what relaxes your emotions, what quiets your mind chatter. So let's say it's about closing your eyes and imagining doing something you love. Let's say the person loves going out riding their bike. Close your eyes. Imagine you're at your beautiful countryside riding your bike, and really feel that you're there. Feel the breeze on your face. Feel your legs working. Feel you're sitting on the chair. I'm not chair, the seat, bicycle seat, and holding the whatever that part is called.
Mhm.
And just really feel it. Really get into it. Just feel that. Yeah, okay. Now I'm ready.
Mhm.
And then imagine opening up that imaginary piece of paper you put in, or look at your notepad if you wrote it somewhere physically.
Mhm.
Look at the question. Look at the question. What comes up? Capture the first thing that comes up. Because again, the conscious thinking mind is very quick at writing stories. Capture the first thing and just really also intentionally say, okay, I am bringing from this practice, I'm bringing back in my memory, keep this, capture it and keep it in my memory to bring it back and put it together with other things, with other inputs. And if you had your eyes closed, open your eyes and, okay, this is what my intuition said. Before you forget, maybe write it down. And then ask your logic, does it make sense? Then look at if it's a big decision, like taking a job or not taking a job, talk to some people who have more experience than you have. And make sure you've done your research about the company and the job, the position, and everything else. And bring everything together to make the decision. Yeah.
Okay. Wow, beautiful. Well, thank you for walking us through that. And I'd like to, let's encourage people to give that a try and see what comes up for you, or what comes out for you. What answers do you get? And I love the idea of journaling your hunches and then coming back, a little while later and seeing if they meant anything or not. Well, we've actually come to the end of the show. So I just want to say, Nil, thank you so much. That has been so interesting. It's given me a lot to think about, in the sense that it's a new way of thinking for me about intuition. And so how do I bring that together with what I always believed? Because I don't believe it's one or the other. I think it can be both. So thank you so much. Any last words you'd like to say to our viewers?
Oh, thank you so much. First of all, Cheryl and Mark, for having me here. And to the listeners, to everyone, explore, play, open it up. Yeah.
Enjoy.
Enjoy. Yeah.
Okay, Mark.
I just love the practical part that you said. You have the question, you hone in on the question, you go into the still space, you come up with an answer, and then you do the research. If it is something big, you do the research. So it's not just, the first thing that comes out afterwards. You still do the research, and that's practical to me. I like the package.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, thanks again, Nil. It's been a wonderful show. For anybody who wants to know about Nil's book, it's called Down to Earth. And it talks about her experience with people about intuition and the different steps you can take. So thank you for joining us. Please like, share, and subscribe. And we hope to see you all back next week. Bye.
Bye for now.
Thank you.